name is Ivan Gonzalez. I'm the co-owner of wine industry here in Mallorca. We do a little bit of distribution work obviously with wine, if we call wine industry. We're doing a little bit of experiences, meaning we take the wine tastings to people's homes, boats, villas, anywhere might need it. And we do winery visits too. Today, since we all have a lot of time at home, we think it's a good time for learning a bit more about wine and using things that we all have at home. Okay, don't need too much. You just need a few items we all have in our household. Okay, so we're gonna need a decanter. If you don't have a decanter like this, you can have a jug or anything that is mainly glass. Okay, we're gonna need a glass for water, a few wine glasses. If they're all different, it might help us throughout the tasting. Okay, so we get to know the difference between one glass and the other. We're gonna need a corkscrew. We're gonna need a piece of paper, white preferably, and we're gonna need something to spit on. We don't have a professional spittoon, so we're gonna use 2D2. Okay. So we're gonna be testing normal wines that we have probably in every household. You can easily find in your supermarkets, in your wine shops, or anywhere here in Spain. We're going to be doing a wine from Rueda. This time, instead of a Verdejo, I've chosen a Sauvignon Blanc. It's brand new, I wouldn't say brand new, but it's a new introduction to Spain wine, and it's having a lot of success here. Then we're going to have a Jumilla. This brand is particularly renowned and from this area. And we're going to have also a Ribera del Duero Reserva. So we get to know a little bit of the regions and a little bit of the different styles. Okay. For the first thing we need to do, obviously, is to open the wines. A lot of people ask me during our introduction course, which is a very long course. We do over 2-3 hours. We make a sort of wine introduction. We talk about the basics. We talk about the normal grapes, how to recognize them. We talk about how to serve wine, how to recognize many things. So the first thing people ask me is about the corkscrew. Do we need something really fancy? Do we need something? You really don't need anything magnificent. The simple, the better. The more simple, the better. And when we open a bottle of wine, it's very few simple steps. We use the little bit here to cut the capsule. We then introduce the corkscrew in there, trying to be right in the center, and then we twist. And then we pull it twice. Okay, the first time we use this short bit here, and we pull up. And the second time we use the longer. We do the same movement and the longer. At this point, make sure you're not going like this and pulling forward, but make sure you're pulling upwards. Okay, always up. A lot of people break cork by just doing that the wrong way. Okay. So that's the first step. We got our wine open. For white, very rarely you need to decant the white. Okay, so it's very, very simple. You just pour and try and taste. I'm going to do this in 2 different glasses because it's very important and very easy to know and to recognize the difference. The right wine needs the right glass, and it will change. The same wine in a different glass will be a different tasting and different smelling. Okay. So once you pour the wine, first thing you need to do, and the first thing I normally do, is to look at the wine. Normally with the light coming from behind you and against the white piece of paper. Okay. So especially on this one, I can see there is a nice lemony color. A little bit of golden maybe, but not too much. And then after looking at the color, you don't need to go too deep into it. You just need to just look at it. Some of them are clearer, some of them are darker, some of them are more green, some of them are more yellow. This is as simple as it gets. Okay. After that, the first thing you do is just smell. And from these smells, you get some sort of smells that are in there, some aromas that are in there, but you don't really recognize. Okay, you don't really need to nail it the first time. You can always just see what you think, And if you don't recognize it the first time, just keep going. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to go crazy with what aromas you get. So we smell the first time, and then we swell. Yeah? And by swelling, the best way is to hold the glass by the stem and twist it, and making sure the wine goes up the walls of the glass. Okay. By doing these, we introduce a lot of oxygen in the glass, and the wine gets a lot of that oxygen in, which opens up more aromas, and that's why we do a second smell. The second smell after swirling should be more intense. You should get a lot more intensity and a lot more aromas in there. For me, I get a lot of flowers. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to say it's orange blossom. No, you can say just flowers. It's flowery, but are they white flowers or are they red flowers? They're mostly white, okay? I get citrusy. You can identify the citrus. You can say it's maybe, I don't know, lemon or orange peel or any other, okay? And then I get something a little vegetable-y. Could be like tomato, asparagus, something like this. Maybe even green pepper. Okay. And then we drink. When we drink, put it in your mouth, and before you spit it, you should try and get the wine all around in your mouth. This way you get a real feeling of what that wine has. Is it dry in your mouth? Is it getting, is it too sweet? Is it covering all of it? Is it really, is the flavor staying, lingering a little bit in there or not? In the mouth, I get more or less what you got in the aromas. So this is pretty direct wine. Very simple, nice and refreshing, and easy drinking wine. You can actually have it with any kind of fish, any kind of summery dish, vegetables, rice, many things. Very polyvalent. Okay, so this wine comes from Rueda. Rueda is really renowned for mostly white wines. It's in the area of Castilla y León, and it's close to Ribera del Duero. Maybe to try and get your heads around exactly where it comes from. In Rueda, the most famous grape is Verdejo, but there are also planting Sauvignon Blanc in there, which is having quite a lot of success. Okay. Also, now that we have these, we should try from the different glass and see if we get any differences between one and another. Okay. To me, in this second glass, the aromas have opened up a lot more, but it doesn't have that sharpness to it, that sort of freshness. It seems a bit more dull. Yeah, to me, it looks like it's slightly sweeter in this glass. Have a go at home, see what you think. Okay. Now, when it comes to reds, a lot of people decant reds. Okay, every red will benefit mostly from a bit of a decanting or some time open before we drink it. I like to open it up try and then see and decide whether it needs it or not, you know. But if you're not sure, it's never bad to decant a wine straight away. Okay. There is a few steps you need to take in account. Okay, when you're decanting a wine, is first thing is to try and recognize the bottle. Normally, a wine that is in a bottle with big shoulders, not like this, but like that, will be likely to have some sediment. Okay, so you need to be careful at the end of the pouring to make sure the sediment doesn't go into the decanter. Okay, so what we're doing when we're decanting is trying to also, at the same time that we're pouring it, we need to try and for the wine to touch as much of the surface as possible so it gets a lot of oxygen in there. Okay, so we do it as simple as that. Somebody taught me once to do it very slowly. So that you get a lot more oxygen in there, okay? We're just going to pour a little bit to then try and taste the difference between the ones that is been decanted and the one that is not, okay? We'll leave it there for a little bit now. This is the Reserva wine, so we're going to leave it to air a little bit longer, okay? Before that, we're going to go to the Jumilla. This is Juan Gil Jumilla is an area in the southeast of Spain, in Murcia, and it's a region really renowned for the monastrell. This kind of grape is pretty dark, it's full of dark fruit flavors and a lot of personality. Quite bold wines coming out from there. Okay. So, as I said, very renowned label, very renowned winery. This is their monastrell silver label. If I'm not wrong, this has spent 12 months in barrel. Okay. Again, we see when we're pouring wine in a glass, we're trying to be easy. You can't just try and pour it too fast or too strongly. Just nice and slowly, without too much of a rush. Again, we look at it against the paper with the light behind you, and when you look through it, okay. In here I can see it's pretty dark, you can't see much through it, and it's got a nice red around it. It's not violet, it's not deep red, it's not super light sort of terracotta. I would say it's a bit grenade, but not so much. Okay. Again, we follow the procedure. We look, we smell. In here, I can get a lot of cherry, and maybe cooked cherries actually, rather than raw. Okay. Slightly jammy. All right. We'll give it a swell. Again, make sure it goes up all the way. If you look at it, this glass is very different to this one here. This is a white wine glass. Obviously shorter, closer, and taller. Why is this? Because we're trying to get the aromas straight up in your nose. Well, in here is a bit wider to try and get more oxygen in there and open the wine a little bit more. Okay. Get a little bit more intensity of the fruit, and I can get a little bit more of probably some of the hints of the oak barrel that this wine has been in. Yeah? Some toasted aromas. If you don't smell it, it doesn't matter. You need to, little by little, you'll be recognizing all of these flavors and all of these aromas. Okay. You see, this wine gives me a very dry sensation in the mouth. That's due to the tannins. The tannins is that thing that just dries your mouth all around. It's a bit like when you drink black tea and you get that dry sensation in your mouth. Okay. So this wine at the same time has been quite strong and spicy in a way. When I mean spicy, we mean spices like licorice, maybe a bit of cinnamon. It does have a lot of dark fruit flavors as well. Maybe some mulberries or some blackberries in there as well. Okay, but it leaves you with a lingering sensation. It's nice and long. So when we talk about a long wine, we talk about something that stays in your mouth for quite a while. Okay. So yeah, I would call this a very pleasant wine. Okay, and then when we come to the third one here, we're talking about Ribera del Duero. This is one of the most renowned wine regions in Spain. They have their classic ways of aging the wine and how they're qualified. Okay, so from less time in barrel to longer, we would have joven or young wine. There is no time in barrel to maybe 2 or 4 months maximum. Then we got the roble. Roble is something in between that has been invented recently, and I think is really pleasant because it's not a really aggressive, acidic, fruity wine, and it's not like a crianza that is probably a bit more body. It's got something in between that is really nice. So robles are between 4 and 9 months, more or less. Okay, this is depending on where you are, essentially. Crianza could be from 10 to about 16, and then Reserva from 16 above. You also got the Gran Reserva, which normally it changes depending on the area, on the wine region that you are, but Gran Reserva is normally 20 months in barrel or above. Okay. In this way we got Reserva, and this is 2011. Okay. Firstly, I will try it directly from the bottle, and then we'll compare it with the one in the decanter. Okay. Again, we serve a little bit. You don't need to drink the whole bottle when you're tasting. We look at the color, and in here, although it's a little bit more opaque than the previous, it is really dark, and the color just around the rim of it, it's really, really red, sort of terracotta red. That tells you that it's an older wine that spent more time in bottle. The clearer the color, in general, no more rules. The clearer the color, the longer than it's been in bottle, and the more aged normally. Okay. So we smell here a lot more vanilla. Vanilla is normally a flavor you get from the oak. Okay. And I can smell a bit of the red fruit, but the red fruit is not too present. Maybe we'll have to move it a little bit to try it out and get that oxygen in again, and get those flavors working. In here I can just taste a bit more, or smell a bit more how elegant this wine is. It's a lot more complex. It does have a lot more spices, a lot more fruit, especially sweet spices. Okay. Okay, well, we'll try again. This is all you have to do. Swirl and try. I'd like you to go back and get the one that we tried here before. So pour it in the glass. And try the difference, okay? So already on the third wine, the piece that's been in a decanter, we can tell just by the smell that it's a lot more developed and a lot more open. I can get some hints of tobacco, some hints of leather, which are, some people really like this flavor. And when you try, we get a much more drier wine, but a lot more complexity. We've got a lot of red fruits, a lot of spices. There's a bit of an explosion going on right there. So this is it. You don't need much more really. It's very, very simple. You only need a bit of wine, a couple of glasses. decanter if you have, if you don't, no problem, and yourself to try the wines, okay? So I hope you find this video helpful. Hope to see you again soon.